about theology, but not as a theologian, because I'm a psychologist, a student of psychology, and therefore I'm going to focus more on the process of theologizing. I will try and look at this from 4 different points. The first is the starting point of theology. The second is some developmental perspectives. Third will be one way of processing and growing through theology. And the fourth is the ultimate goal of theology. Theology that is not rooted in experience is empty. If we look at all the great saints, mystics, they had their experience, and from that experience they theologized. So we have Paul going back to his Damascus experience and theologizing from there. We have Ignatius of Loyola going back repeatedly to his Cardinal experience and theologizing from there. But every one of us, you and I, have our experience, and we need to bring this experience into our theologizing. The second point that I'd like to bring is the developmental perspective. Who we are defines what we see. A child looks at a certain reality and experiences one thing. A teenager looks at that same reality and sees another thing. Another person who is further developed looks at that same reality and sees a third thing. So where we are on our developmental journey will define who we are, what we see, and our theology. Here I would like to bring in the perspective brought by Ken Wilber. He has different developmental steps. In the first, the archaic, the mythic stage, we see and interpret reality as this 2 different worlds, the spirit world and the physical world, and mediation that happens. And we can work from there. We move on to the warrior stage, where warriors ruled, and therefore God is the warrior. And so we can look at Jesus in the Gospels as the one who's fighting against all powers of domination. We can also move to the next level, the traditional level, where we see Jesus as the one who comes to give the law, the new Moses in a way. We can go further and see the Jesus who cares, the postmodern Jesus, who cares for everyone, who feels at home with everyone. And then finally we can go ahead and to the integral level, where we see Jesus who has a deep, intimate connection with all of reality. Developmental perspective. Where are you on your developmental journey? Because where you are on your developmental journey will define what you see. Who is the Jesus you see? Who is the Jesus you interpret? Who is God for you? Third, I'd like to look at one way of growing through this process, and that is looking within, looking back, looking forward, moving forward. When we look within, I recognize where I am now. But where I am now is a product of my entire past that has brought me here. And therefore, if I have to really understand where I am now, I need to understand my past, because that is a trajectory that is going to lead me into the future. If I have not resolved issues of my past, I will not know where I am at present, and I will be confused about my future. And so therefore, this is the cycle that I propose. Looking within, looking back to understand that, looking forward, moving forward towards this new future, and then once again, looking in, looking back, looking forward. And finally, the goal of theology. I think that theology is like a ladder. It is meant to help us reach the terrace. Any theology is meant to reach us to the goal. The goal is, I believe, an experience of God, a very profound experience of God, a transformative experience of God. Theology, being like a ladder, reminds me that I need to go beyond that ladder. If I just hold on to that ladder, I will never reach that terrace. I will miss the wonder of that starlit night. I will miss that experience of God. which then becomes the starting point for the rest of my life. So once again, to sum up these 4 points, we need to come and begin our theology in experience. We need to understand where we are developmentally. Look within, look back, look forward and move. And finally, move beyond all that we have learned to that direct, transformative experience of God. Thank you.